Hey, Fat Guy Flies RC coming to you from the man cave. This is the radio setup and going over the basic functions electronically of the Arrows Marlin. I have already installed, as I told you in the build or the unboxing and assembly video, that I'll be using an AR630 antennaless receiver. Well, I've already installed that. I've already bound it up, and right there it is back there in the back. Okay, now. But it's just the basic setup. I've done none of the forward programming or anything else. But before we do that, we know that we've got connection, right? Okay, the rudder's working, everything. So the transmitter is talking to the receiver. Okay? So that we know is good. Now, before we do any forward programming though, let's make sure that, that everything's working, everything is centered, but I noticed that when I turn the flaps on, if you notice how the flaps are slightly down, okay? Well, instead of they're going there and mechanically changing that, I can fix that with my radio, with my electronics, okay? Let's go ahead and let's just fix that right, because you notice they're up just a touch, right? Okay. Let's get centered on the plane stand where you can see them flats. Okay. All right, you see they're up just a touch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here, and I'll show you the whole how everything's set up. And just let's fix this flap system. You're going to go to your servo setup, okay, and you're going to go to travel. Okay, now let's identify the movement on that. Okay. Go down here, we're on travel. Go down here to the flap, okay? Okay, when the flaps are all the way down, like that, the whole thing is highlighted. So let's put the flaps up, and just the bottom part is highlighted. So you want to click, and that way you control it. Now watch them flaps. What I'm going to do is I'm going to increase that. And I'm going to just keep increasing, keep rolling, and look at the flaps. Look at how they're getting perfectly straight now. Now see, I went up to 128. Let's take them down. Okay, look at how they are now. All right, so I'll go back up, and I think what was 128 was just about perfect. See, I'm eyeballing the flaps there. I'm looking at that line of those control surfaces, and I'm waiting for them to get just where they look like they're just perfectly. I'm going to say that looks pretty darn good right there. What I'm looking at, I want to make sure that this line of structure is all the same, all linear. And it is. So I'm going to leave that alone. Okay. Now we know that everything's mechanically trimmed correctly, and everything works, and we've got proper communication. So now we can go in there and set up that with using that AR630, we can go in there and set up the forward programming and everything. However, something that you have to do, and no matter if you're using forward programming, you must do this first. We must verify that all the control surfaces are working in the right direction. Okay, let's look at my rudder. Right rudder is correct. Okay, look at my ailerons. Uh-oh. Right aileron. That aileron should go up, making the plane turn right. Elevator's right. It goes up. Down elevator, up elevator. But those ailerons are wrong. So we have to correct that first before we can go into forward program. Again, you're going to go to servo setup. And instead of going to travel, you're going to go to reverse. And we're going to reverse aileron. Now watch that right aileron. It goes up like it's supposed to. Okay? Elevator up, elevator down, rudder right rudder, left rudder. Okay, so now all the control surfaces of the plane are correct. Okay? Now we can go. And that front rudder? Yeah, okay. Now we can go into forward programming and fix that. And we go under forward programming, and we can set up the model. Okay? So, go down here to forward programming.
Warning, throttle cut off.
Okay, my throttle I have it on H. So if I have it closer to me, then it's on. The throttle cut is on. You have to do that. Go to gyro settings. Okay. Okay. Now, this AR630 receiver has been used before. So I need to take that AR630 receiver, take her back to, hold on, I gotta go back out. Okay, you go here and go to other settings, okay? And what you want to do, if it's a used receiver, and that's a used AR630, go to factory reset, apply, complete. And what that does, that returns that receiver back the way it was before it had been bound or mated to any plane. So it's like right out of the package. Okay, so now we're at square one with the receiver. And we know, again, everything's working the way it should. So now we're ready. We're going to go to gyro settings. And we're going to do a first time setup. And this is saying making sure everything's traveled and trimmed. Well, we've already done that. Okay. Make sure you got the wing type and everything right. We've already done it. We'll go back and show you that. Set the model level and hit continue. Okay. All right. Now it says set the model on its nose and hit continue. Now I can't obviously do that without showing you. Without holding the model here. So all I do is I'll hit continue. And it learns. Go down to, it learns, it tells you this is orientation 1. Hit continue again. Okay? All right, so now it knows which way is up and which way is level. This is for the AS3X section. Okay? Go down to apply. Now, you can select a gain channel if you want to put your gains on a roller or something. That's fine, but I don't do that. All right, hit apply. Look at that. Doesn't that sound familiar? A lot like your, go back in, a lot like your E-Flight and bind and fly planes. Go back to gyro settings again. Now, first time safe setup. But before you do that, you need to set up your F mode. Okay? All right. You got to pick your FM channel. Flight mode channel. So I like using B. Okay? I like using B. So I'm going to go down here, hit the channel. I'm going to go to B. It's on aux 2 and it's B. Okay? We're going to go next. All right. Verify that again. B, B. All right. Next. Okay. Back up out of that. First time safe setup. Already done the FM channel. Already done that. We know what flight mode is going to be. That flight mode for the FM channel. We already know everything's active. Now, the model's level, you want to capture that. All right. All right. Now, looky here. I've got a -1 for roll, but a -11 for pitch. Reason for that is because, and that means that the model, even though it looks level, the way I have that receiver in there, okay, it is sitting slightly at an angle, okay, so it doesn't like that. So I'm going to have to compensate that, and then basically we're going to lie to the Spektrum receiver, and we're going to tell them that no, it is level. The pitch or the roll just means that I've got the table's probably not perfectly level, so it's a little bit off to one side. Okay, so we'll leave that one alone and we'll let it remember that. However, I'm going to need to take that pitch, okay, and let's level that down. Let's take that down to say 0. Okay, next. Okay, and that's the angle limits. So basically I had to tell the receiver that she is level right now. Okay, so it captured that. And we're going to apply that. All right. it goes through its dance. All right. Now, okay, go back into forward programming again. Okay, it's got to think about it for just a minute. Go to gyro settings. All right, now I'm using this for my F mode. Okay, my F mode setup. Okay, this is flight mode 1. This is the furthest away from me for 0. So I'm actually going to go in there and make safe at self level. Okay, then I'm going to channel 2. I'm going to pull the switch towards me, and I'm just going to make that just the AS3X is active. Same thing with channel 3, just the AS3X is active. Okay, now, so that means that I'm in flight mode. I'll put the switch back down to flight mode 1, all the way away from me. So that means that my control surfaces should try to self-right. Look at the elevator. Look at the elevator. Look at how it is angling up. Okay? It's angling up. Watch the ailerons. See how they're holding their position? The way they are, it would self-right the plane. Okay? All right? Look at that. The elevator is turning up towards me. Otherwise, it would try to self-right the plane. Another way you can tell? Look at that. It's trying to find center again. And you think, oh, great. That's wonderful. But let's see if, let's put AS3X on. Okay, I'm in the AS3X mode. Hey, whoa, hold on. How come I don't hear them gyros? That's because I'm in AS3X safe mode, right? I'm there. I'm in that. I know safe is on channel on that one, and it's self-level. When I go to flight mode 2, it should only be the AS3X. So what's going on? How come I don't hear them? Well, that's why you got to go to the AS3X settings. Okay. Go down here to fixed adjustable gains, and in flight mode 1, make those settings fixed. Okay. Flight mode 2. Fixed, fixed, fixed. Flight mode 3, which is just another AS3X. Fixed, fixed. All right. Now, safe will work, and so will the AS3X gyros like they're supposed to. Okay. Watch this. Flight mode 2. Hey, well, hold on. Didn't I just say they will work? Right. They won't until, what's the thing about AS3X? It does not engage until you get at least 25% throttle. Okay? Hear them now? Okay. All right. Now we've got forward programming. That's set up. But let's go over the model, how I got it from the get-go. I had to make sure that, and we'll go over to CG in just a second, but I had to make sure that all the control servos work right before I set that up. Now, just to put it back in safe, if you're worried about that pitch, okay, with that model sitting perfectly level there, them control surfaces, they're not moving. But if I start angling it down, look at how much they do move. All right, so I know that taking that pitch down to nothing and letting it record and telling it that this is level, then it just remembers that. It's no different than if I had that receiver perfectly flat, but instead it's at an angle because that's the way the fuselage. This is how you compensate for that. Now, you can't put that receiver like at a weird angle this way or that way. You can either have it straight this way, flat, or upside down. And if it's slightly angled, then you got to play with that pitch a little bit in order to record what is level. All right, but let's go back over the beginnings of the plane. All right, let me get it where you can see all the control surfaces. All right. Number one, when I set up a new model, I named it the Marlin. Okay. and I set my throttle cut to H at negative 100%. Okay. Now I have not done anything with rates or expo. Okay. I like using, since I'm going to use that safe receiver, I'm actually going to use safe by itself, and it sets its own values. And then my middle position is going to be my high, and then my going to be my low, and then the position closest to me, or my highest, is going to be my high rate. Okay, so for this model, we're going to do rates and expo. I'm going to go to my switch, and I'm going to choose A. I'm going to go my middle position or my low rate, and I'm going to pick 70%. Actually, we'll go 80, and we'll do 20% expo. I may play with that. Okay, for high, I'm going to do 20% expo. Okay, so low is 80, high is 100. All right, on my switch, the middle, that's low, towards me is high, and all the way away from me is simply going to be safe. And let's just go ahead and put expo into that too, just because we can. And that's just on the aileron so far. Okay, now we're going to go to elevator. Okay, we're going to assign the switch to B. We're in that middle position, so that's going to be my low rate. It's going to be 80 with 20% expo. Okay, and then my high rate, I'll pull it towards me. See it switch down there. And I'm going to put 20% expo. Now for my rudder, however, I'm just going to leave that at 100% with 20% expo, no matter what. I like a lot of rudder. Okay, so here is my low rates, which is 80%, 20% expo. Here's my high rates, 20% expo, and of course the rudder stays at 100%. All right, now
volume 100.
Let's go and pick
Volume 100.
Got rates and expo. Got our throttle cut. Okay. Okay, flap system. What I picked for the model is a negative 100% for flaps all the way up. Okay. Negative 50% with a 5% down mix on the elevator for takeoff. And you can see that. And then landing flaps are a positive 100% with a 10% down elevator. Now watch the elevator move. Just ever so slightly, you can kind of tell that elevator is moving. Okay, let me get you a little bit better view so you can see. Okay. Takeoff flaps, flaps up, landing flaps. Okay. Audio setup, if you refer to my Bayhawk video, I can show you how to do the audio call outs on that video. But that's the basic setup. You know, my rates are going to be 80% over 20% expo all the way around. My high rates are going to be 100% expo with 20% expo, 20% expo all the way around. 100 with 20, 80 with 20. Audio call outs is, you know, you pick your own audio call outs. I'll set my timer for 3.5 minutes for it. And that's how I like to start my jets. Now, some jets you can get 4 or 5 minutes out, usually 4 minutes the most. Sometimes 5, depends on the jet, throttle management. But 3.5 minutes is a good starting point. Went over the forward programming. I picked the B switch, and like I said, there is safe. Okay, see how the control surfaces are staying in the position. And there's AS3X. I showed you how to set that up. And something cool that I did, remember that little yellow pigtail signal? I plugged that into the gear or channel aux 1 on the receiver. Let me show you what I did with that and what that does. Okay, gonna have to go to
Volume 100.
you're gonna have to go out of the model. Okay, don't worry about it, it's gonna sit right there. Okay, you gotta go to System Setup. Okay, yep, you're gonna go to Channel Assign. Okay, and I don't have retracts. Okay, I have fixed gear, but I've changed the gear to Channel A. Okay, and Channel A, okay, is gear, but I've switched. I made the gear, I changed it to A on here, and I ensured that aux 1, or actually aux 2, is what is actually the gear channel. Okay, actually I'm sorry, gear is gear, but I've changed, that's what I'm sorry, gear is gear no matter what on the port assignment, but when you figure what letter you want, what channel, what switch you want to use, I used A, which is a on off type thing, and that's what I'm using for thrust reverse. Okay, I don't have gear, so I'm going to use that channel for that. So with my throttle on, okay, see, throttle on, watch the wall over there. Obviously that's working, right? Now switch that channel. Okay, now watch the, hold on. So here, I'll just, you can't really see it, watch the model though. Here's one, go backwards. All right, so reverse works. That's something I didn't have on the Marlin before. Now, we got basic setup. I don't have the audio prompts in there, which or the timer set. That's on. There's many videos on that, and you can watch that on a lot of other channels, a lot of other videos show that. On that Bayhawk, I show it how to do the audio prompts and the channels. Let's go over the CG. Probably the most important part. Okay, it's 85 to 95, I think, if I remember right. Folded manuals, folded manuals. See, if the manual wasn't folded, this wouldn't be a problem. I could just flip the pages, but no. Well, manuals, I'm being a little whiny, you know what about it, but. All right, hold on, I'm going to have to put the model down. I don't want to tell you the wrong information. Okay, 80 to 90 millimeters measured from the wing root. And on a jet, the wing root is always where it touches the fuselage. And so 80 to 90 millimeters back. And what that works out to is, if you look, you see this tape line, put your finger right behind the tape line. Put the pad of your finger, basically your pad of your finger back, and that is the CG. That's 80 to 90. Okay, and I've got a 2700 4S in there, just slightly larger than the called out for what's called out for. Let me get right on that. Make sure I'm right on that. Okay. Look at there. I think I may just be back. Yeah, I'm back just a touch. Sorry to have my, yeah, I'm back just a touch on this one here. Okay. Look at that. I mean, that's, I mean, if it was distinctly out of balance, then it would be dropping distinctly one way or the other. So that is pretty balanced right there. This is a Hobby King balancer. Now, keep an eye on it. They only offer this like once a year in the United States. And I ain't going to pay a bunch of shipping to have this thing come from Europe. I just wait for it. But yeah, that's pretty well balanced right there. I can maybe pull the battery forward maybe 1/4 of an inch and maybe drop it down that much. But that's fine right there. Okay. Actually having a slightly nose tail heavy will help you with landing. So that's about perfect right there. So what I'll be doing now that I know that's a good CG point, and I've got the 2700, which is the largest I'm going to be using. I always do my CG, balance my CG, or find my CG with the largest battery I'm going to use. And that way, when I mark that, I go, if I use a smaller battery, I just go forward a little bit. So, I know right where that battery is. Okay, so I'm going to take my Sharpie, find the end of the battery, draw a line. Okay, draw a line on either side, on the inside of that battery bay. Okay, now I'm going to take the battery out. Okay, and you can see that AR630, yeah, it kind of sits at an angle down. That's why I had to compensate. But I got my lines there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Sharpie now, and I'm going to write over here. I'm going to put a little arrow going backwards, and I'm going to write above that arrow 2700 4S. I'm going to put it on this side too. 2700 4S. So I wrote in there 2700 4S. So that means if I put anything smaller, I would go a little bit further forward. And that's the biggest I'm going to fly in that plane. So that's the furthest marking back. That's going to give me the best CG. The other thing we need to do real quick is let's make sure that our ESC, and I haven't tested this off camera, so this will be raw also. Let's make sure our ESC is properly calibrated. So what we got to do for that is we'll make sure that the throttle, the motor would be on, which is throttle cut away from me, is throttle cut off is away from me, so I know the throttle would be on. Okay, put your battery in there. You don't have to strap it down, just get it in there where you get power. Okay, put your throttle all the way up on your transmitter, plug it in, listen to the beeps, go through the dance. Now I'm going to drop it. 4. Now, I should have immediate thrust response. And I do. That's a properly calibrated ESC. And why I had it all the way forward is I have to go into programming mode. Okay, it captures the highest or 100% throttle, and then I drop the throttle down to 0, and it captures 0 throttle. That way it knows where its range is, and that's the purpose of calibrating your ESC. Usually with these better models, better quality name brand models like Arrows and FMS and E-Flight, 9 times out of 10 you don't have to worry about it. They've already calibrated the ESC, but sometimes they have not. Ask me about the Twimber up there, about non-calibrated ESCs. Anything I buy now, I don't care if it's a $1 billion plane, I'm going to calibrate them ESCs. Alright, well I think the only thing left to do is force me to do my audio prompts and timer and all that, but there's a 12 to 1 videos on how to do that, and you, like I say, you watch the Bayhawk, back of that Red Arrows Bayhawk, I showed you how to do audio prompts, same thing here. And showed you how to ESC calibrate. I showed you how I set up the flaps, how I set up my rates, and how to do forward programming. So I think we're done. The only thing left now is to fly the plane, right? Do the maiden. Stay tuned for that. Hopefully tomorrow or today, because it's the middle of the night for me. Hopefully I'll get that done later this afternoon. And we're going to maiden this, and we're going to maiden, hopefully, as long as the weather's right, hopefully, keep my fingers crossed, maiden this, maiden the Bayhawk, and maiden a surprise plane. That's another redemption plane that you'll see when I put the video up. All right. Y'all have a good one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Big shout out again to Hobby Zone for sending the Marlin out to me. She's a great flying EDF. One of the best starter EDFs you can get. That's a full landing gear and everything type gear. The 64 millimeter Futura is another great beginner start jet. The Banshee from Freewing. I'll be doing in the future, I'm going to be doing a comparison video on the Banshee and the Futura. Now the Futura 64 millimeter, let me just show them real quick, is slightly bigger, and but they're comparable. They have the same reverse thrust, and let me just show you a few differences real quick. Of the two, nothing against Freewing, but of the two, I'm off camera to grab these planes real quick for you. Of the two, I believe, in my vote by value, I believe the Futura is the better value. Okay, let me tell you why. This one, if I remember right, this is $189. Okay, it's slightly larger. It has thrust reverse. Okay, it has flaps, and it already has suspension gear. Okay, so that's what that's got. Now, you take the Banshee, and it's pretty much a comparable plane. It's fairly close in size. It has thrust reverse. It's $189 if I remember right, maybe $179. Either $179 or $189. But in order to get the trailing link suspension gear, you got to pay for them, and they're like, I think, $22. So that makes this plane basically almost $200. And it's got reverse, and it's a great flying plane also. And it's got flaps. However, the flaps on the Banshee are a pinch hinge that have no discernible, just a crease there. Okay, on the Futura, they're actually a dedicated flap. Okay, and you've got just a little bit better plane. Now we'll do a comparison by way of flight, but they're pretty much, they're fairly close to each other. Okay, we'll do a comparison flight, put it through maneuvers, and see which one. But by monetary, by features, this one's a little bit better value. So now, actually, we could do the Arrows Marlin in there too, but it does not have suspension gear, and you have to. You can't get them the suspension gear through Arrows or a Hobby Zone. I think RC Castle may sell a set, and I don't know. Maybe the gear from the Futura you could buy, they might fit. I don't know, but that's something to see. Well, anyways, that I just threw that in there because it's on my mind, just to tell you about future videos. But thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. A big shout out again to Hobby Zone for sending me out the Marlin, which is actually the focus of this video, not the other jets, and for wanting me to review it. And thank you again. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I know I talk so much, and the channel, this video's been 80 hours long, but it's a great flying plane. We'll get the next one will be the maiden for it. Y'all have a good one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. God bless y'all, and don't forget faith, family, and friends, and then sport jets.